Well, welcome to our weekly press conference and happy 406 Day. Today we celebrate everything that makes Montana such a special place that we call home. When it comes to living in Montana, we have plenty to be thankful for. We're all blessed to call Montana home. And the best part of Montana is our people. That's why, with Montanans in mind, everything we do is to help Montana reach its full, outstanding potential while protecting our way of life. We're focused on opening the doors of greater opportunity to all Montanans, helping more folks achieve the American dream, and ultimately giving our kids a better life than we had. We all want what's best for the next generation. We all want Montana students to receive a high-quality education that prepares them well for the future. Education unlocks students' imagination, sparks their curiosity, and opens the door to greater opportunities. Each child is unique, and we should ensure that each child has access to the best education possible that meets his or her individual needs. Student success and Montana's future depend on classroom innovation, individualized learning, and work-based learning. That's why in 2021 we authorized every school district in the state to establish individualized work-based learning paths for students. Under this new capability that we introduced in 2021, students spend a portion of their school week interning with local businesses and earning school credit. These learning pathways help our kids and grandkids get the experience they need to build the foundation for a good-paying career, reach their full potential, and achieve the American dream. I'm encouraged more and more schools are offering individualized work-based learning paths for their students, but there's still plenty of work to do. To deliver the best education possible for our kids, we must be innovative and transformative. We need to develop partnerships with the private sector. We can't be constrained by brick and mortar, and we must improve education opportunities for all of our students. And we're making great progress throughout the state, including up in the Flathead, where I was yesterday. There, I sat down with students and educators and business leaders to discuss the importance of expanding individualized work-based learning opportunities for our schools. Everyone at the roundtable was enthusiastic about the innovation underway and what it means for our future. And I appreciated their input and feedback. I met with students who spend a portion of their school week working in a law office, an architecture firm, construction, operating heavy equipment, and as a lab technician, each based on the interests of the students and the needs of the local businesses. The students were excited and the businesses were excited. It's a win-win. Career and technical education, or CTE, programs are a great asset to many Montana schools. I've heard it from young Montanans throughout the state benefiting from CTE. CTE programs prepare students for the jobs of tomorrow and build a highly skilled, highly qualified workforce. With work-based learning, students can get on-the-job experience and simultaneously learn applying that experience to their graduation requirements. We've seen great success with this in the Flathead and throughout the state. Students make more informed career decisions, and their horizons are broadened when they participate in these programs. In Kalispell, these experiences start in elementary school with workplace field trips to view various industries and career options. Another example of work-based learning is happening in Glasgow. Students there take certified nursing assistant classes, earn dual credit, train at the local assisted living facilities, and graduate with a certified nurse's assistant certificate from Miles Community College. And because the course content is delivered over the internet, the students never have to go to Miles City, making the program available statewide to all high school students in the state. Increasing access to innovative, individualized, and work-based learning opportunities is critical and one of our top priorities. We've made progress and moved the ball down the field, but we need to keep running these 3 to 5 yard plays to put more points on the board for our kids. Right now, there's an innovative education bill before the legislature, House Bill 257, carried by Representative Courtney Sprunger. The bill will boost funding for and expand access to advanced opportunity programs, increase student access to online courses, help prepare our kids for higher education, and help build a stronger workforce in critical industries like manufacturing, construction, technology, and nursing, and better prepare students to thrive in good-paying jobs. Representative Sprunger's bill to expand advanced opportunities programs is a win for students, families, and educators. And I'm pleased to report that it's making its way through the legislature. Since every student is unique and has different needs and interests, we're working with legislators to further expand individualized learning, where students progress at their own pace and are measured on where they are in a subject and move through the content based on their own level of competency rather than how many hours they've spent in a chair. If a student is excelling in math, that student can move ahead more quickly in their lessons with individualized learning. If a student is struggling with a concept, they can get the extra help they need with individualized learning. The Individualized Education Act will make an important difference for our students, and I'm encouraged it has passed the Senate, and just yesterday it passed the House. We're also working with legislators to reform the Montana Digital Academy, transforming how we deliver traditional K-12 education and opening the doors of opportunity even more. It will allow students to access classes which may not be offered in their school, anywhere and anytime. Thanks to technology, geographic boundaries are no longer a constraint. So we're modernizing education beyond traditional geographic barriers with the Montana Digital Academy. The bill passed the House 96-3 earlier this week, and it's on its way to the Senate. Taken together, these reforms will give students and parents maximum flexibility for the courses they want to take, whether they're within the district, through the Digital Academy, or on a job site for work-based learning. And as we focus on preparing students for success in college or the workforce, we're also focused on ensuring opportunities exist for students to thrive once they graduate. One way we're doing this is with lower taxes, cutting red tape, and making Montana the best state in the country to do business. With our pro-jobs, pro-business policies, we're allowing job creators to do what they do best, create jobs and opportunities for Montanans throughout the state. But we're also building a highly skilled, highly qualified workforce to better meet the needs of students and employers. A 4-year college degree is not the best option for everyone. In fact, many new good-paying jobs require specialized skills that can be developed through apprenticeships. When we took office 2 years ago, state government regulations blocked access to apprenticeships, so we modernized our apprenticeship system. We quadrupled the number of apprenticeship opportunities for Montanans by changing the apprenticeship ratios, and we're seeing results. In 2022, Montana added more than 1,000 apprenticeships and 81 new employer apprenticeship sponsors. And we have more apprentices now in Montana than ever before in our history. Now more than ever, Montana needs a highly skilled workforce, which is why we also created the Montana Trades Education Credit in 2021. As we anticipated, Montana employers are taking advantage of this program. That's why our budget nearly doubles the Montana Trades Education Credit, boosting this successful program that builds the skills of hardworking Montanans. I appreciate Majority Leader Sue Vinton for carrying this bill, which has cleared the House and is now making its way through the Senate. We also need more skilled workers as we increase our housing supply to make renting or owning home more affordable. That's why we adopted one of the Housing Task Force's strategies in our budget, the HOMES program, or home ownership means economic security. The HOMES program invests $200 million to expand water and sewer infrastructure and ultimately expand housing. The HOMES program hit a little speed bump this week in the House, but we stand by this conservative free enterprise solution. We'll keep working to get the HOMES program across the finish line so we can increase housing supply, and I'm optimistic we'll get there. Montanans are counting on us. And with our free enterprise approach, we will get more Montanans into affordable homes of their own. We want to encourage smart, denser housing development using incentives as an innovative market-based approach. As a business guy who has created jobs, I know from experience that this approach works best. And I know many Montanans would agree. It works much better than the state pushing hard-earned taxpayer dollars into subsidized housing or paying off other people's mortgages. That's a losing bet for Montana taxpayers and something straight out of central planning. Instead of increasing housing supply, it will make housing more expensive, and we can't afford that. Instead, as always, we'll remain focused on delivering solutions for Montanans, ones that will make a lasting positive impact on folks throughout the state. We're focused on building a place where more Montanans can achieve the American dream, earning a good living, owning a home, raising their family, and being part of the community where they live and work. Because ultimately, it's our people that make Montana the last best place. Happy 406 Day. And with that, I'd be happy to take some questions. Who'd like to go first? Jonathan?
Yes, Governor, I wanted to ask you, in light of what you were saying regarding the Homes Act, we heard from Speaker Regier this week that there's a lot of Republicans who they said they're not thrilled with the model that's laid out in the Homes Act. I think maybe it's too much benefit towards developers and stuff like that. And I was curious, it sounds like maybe there's some dispute within the party on that, and I'm curious where you think that it goes from here.
Well, I think the Homes Act was one of the key recommendations of our bipartisan housing task force, and it does one of the core functions that government is really called to do, that is to provide for infrastructure. And specifically, it provides low-interest loans to municipalities to put in water and sewer infrastructure to allow new housing developments, particularly if they provide for higher density. Because when you build big houses on big lots, they cost more money. When you build smaller houses or multi-units on smaller lots, they cost less. And our goal in all of this work is to make housing more affordable. We stand by this approach, and we think it's much better than promoting subsidized housing or paying off other people's mortgages, which will not increase the housing supply. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to get this bill back on track and get it over the finish line.
To follow up on that, one of the things I heard specifically from the Speaker of the House was he was concerned that the money would end up going to developers that are going to build anyway. They end up subsidizing activity that's already happening in the market and not necessarily make it cheaper. You think that's a fair critique of that approach?
I don't think so. I think the Homes Act will make homes more affordable because when a developer puts in a new subdivision, extending water and sewer is part of the cost. Under the current system, where there is no program for the local municipality, the builder has to front that money and it goes into the cost of the house. Through the Homes Act, the local municipality would invest for that water and sewer, and it's no longer included in the cost of the house. It would get paid back over 20 years through property taxes. So this is a free market approach that I think would bring housing costs down.
To follow up, has your administration done any modeling that estimates how much that would bring down the prices of homes?
I don't have those figures here for Terry, but we can do a follow-up. Yep. Do we have a question online?
Not this time.
Okay. Holly?
Talked a lot about education at the start of this. I'm wondering, we've got two bills that would enable charter schools that are moving through, one from Majority Leader Benton, the other from Representative Anderson. I'm wondering, as you're looking at those, if you see any preference in one approach or the other. One involves school boards, a little bit more in the formation of schools, one's Board of Public Education directed. If you see a better route.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Holly. I think if we go back to the principle, and I mentioned it in my comments here, we know as parents that every child is different, and having more options and choice in education is a good thing, because the goal in education has to be to help every child reach their full potential. There are a number of bills going through the legislature, from the education savings accounts, these charter bills, the expansion of the Big Sky scholarships. And if in the end, our analysis is going to be, are we providing more options for students to reach their full potential? And when they get to us, we'll take a look at them. Yes?
I have a follow-up question on Holly's question for the charter schools. We've been hearing from some, or we've been hearing in committee from some, they're worried that a charter school in a really rural community could be detrimental for the public school in that area as well. I'm curious if you think those concerns are valid, or what you would say to people who are worried about that.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. In a very small community, the economics don't support multiple schools because you take scale away. That being said, a charter school is a public school. It's just operating under a different charter. So again, this creates options, and it would be up to the local community to decide what's best for them. Other questions? Yeah, Holly?
I got one, sort of before kids hit school age, looking at childcare. We've seen Representative Buckley and Representative Howell had it first, but it was defeated, Best Beginnings program, appropriating money toward it, putting it into code. And I know that we talked a little bit before about, your proposal was a child care tax credit that's sort of in limbo at the moment right now. I'm wondering, if you're looking at the options that are still in play, that are out there, what you see, and similar to how you talk about housing, and what you think your administration, the approach is to increase, not to just affordability versus access and increasing supply. When you're looking at childcare, what do you think are the levers the state can be pushing to both open up slots around the state for both families maybe on the scholarship or just families traditionally paying, and then also increase the affordability?
Yeah, so it is important. The child care is really the workforce behind our workforce. Moms and dads can't go to work if they don't have a safe place for their kids. This is why throughout the pandemic, we prioritized this and put tens of millions of dollars into expanding child care in the state. It's also the reason why we are such strong proponents for the child tax credit, which puts the money in the pockets of the parents to let them decide. Some will choose child care. Some will choose it as a mechanism to allow one of the spouses to stay home and be a caregiving parent. I would say, however, I still think that's the right approach, is to put the money in the pockets of the parents through our child care credit. And I want to just point something out. The minority leader had cited 3 priorities. That was in housing, child care, and mental health to get her support for our child tax credit. And the point I want to make is that the Republicans in the legislature are making progress on all 3 of these priorities. And it's now time for the minority leader to step forward and support working families in Montana by supporting our child tax credit. Nothing is dead until the legislature's done, and we still have time on the clock, so I'm hopeful we can revive this child tax credit so we can get help to working families.
Is that where you see sort of the holdup being with the child care tax credit, is Democrats voting with some margin of Republicans against it? Is that kind of a roadblock you're working to get over?
Well, ultimately, to get a bill to my desk, we have to have a majority in both houses, right? And I think that the child tax credit, as opposed to a child care tax credit, has more common ground for support to get these majorities, to get real help to working families, which is ultimately the goal. Other questions? Yeah, Shaylee.
I'm curious if the legislature is giving you an idea of what they need to see with the child tax credit to pass. This is something I've been following to since the beginning of the session. What do they want to see happen with that?
Well, the minority leader said if we acted on housing, which we've done, the Republicans have done, if we acted on child care, if we acted on mental health, we'd have her support. But the support has not been forthcoming. So I would just say get on board. Great. Thank you, everybody.